This is Rugby Unity in Japan. I am David Pembroke, and joining me is Will Genia. Will Genia, welcome to Rugby Unity.
I'm glad to be part of it. I'm enjoying what you guys are doing.
Yeah. So here we are. What a wonderful occasion. What a wonderful rugby occasion.
Yeah. So we played I think it's our third trial game, Toshiba's first. And so we're just here at their training grounds, which in itself is a cool experience because their training grounds are in a part of the company grounds. So, and the nice thing about these experiences is families are involved. They can run on the field, families, friends, take photos, autographs, good connection to the people in the community around the game.
You've been in Japan now since 2019. Can you describe to people or explain to people what is rugby like in Japan?
The game itself is very different, I'd say, in terms of how it's played. It's a lot more high skill, less physicality, less collisions. Like, it's getting there because you're getting a lot more foreigners get involved. But it's high paced, high skill, and it's almost like it's a niche sport in the sense that you've got a passionate set of fans that aren't great in numbers, but they genuinely love the game. They genuinely love the game. They connect really greatly to the clubs, to the people, and there's a real good sense of community about the game within where the teams are involved as well.
But while it's a niche game, it's quite a large game when you think about the universities, the different divisions, the top east, the top west, then the professional teams. It's not that niche a game, is it? Niche
in the sense of like the professional side of it, but in terms of like you said, the universities, the high schools, it's massive. Like it's like we have where we are in Higashi Osaka at Hanazono Stadium. They have every year they have the high school tournaments, and it's packed out for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and the stands are filled more than what they are when we play as a professional team. So you're right. Like at the grassroots level, the game is thriving. There's participation's high, big investment into the universities, the high schools, and so in that sense, it's definitely a game that is thriving, and there's a good pipeline of young kids that are involved in the game that come through the professional ranks. I guess what I was saying around the niche element is it's probably not at the level of popularity nationally as what rugby might be in South Africa or New Zealand or potentially in Australia as well.
Yeah. So you're interested in rugby, you're interested in the game, it's been your life and it's now your career as a coach. When we think about the mission of Rugby Unity, which is how do we help secure the future prosperity of rugby union around the world, what can happen here in Japan and what needs to happen here in Japan to continue to promote and encourage the game? And indeed, what role can Japan play in helping secure the future prosperity of rugby union around the world?
Jesus, that's a big question. I'd say the involvement of, in some way that you can do it where you involve the clubs here in the competitions that are already existing in the Southern Hemisphere. So, for example, you could potentially include the top 2 or top 3 teams from League One in Super Rugby. How you manage that in terms of the schedule, I don't know. But what you'd find is you get the involvement of already established fan bases, again, as I was saying, that love the game. But then there's an injection of finances as well, because there's a lot of money that floats around within the game because you're involved in these big companies. And so in terms of the growth of the game and how you can have Japan tap into it, I would like to see in some way the ability to have some of the top teams here involved in some of the major competitions in the world. I just think that in itself creates then a pipeline where young players then see their heroes who play for Japan or the Japanese top league teams playing against the other best players in the world in Super Rugby, in whatever other competitions that we can come up with.
And what about then what Japan itself can offer to the world? Because to me, if I look around here, I just see a lot of young kids. I see a lot of families. I see a lot of opportunity perhaps for, junior clubs from around the world to be able to come to Japan to share in what is a different culture. It's a different rugby culture, but it's a thriving culture.
Oh, for sure. We recently had a team from Brisbane come along, the Albany Creek Brumbies. So they come and did a couple of sessions with us at Kintetsu, and I asked them what their experience was like, and they loved it.
Yeah.
They were for 10 days. They played all different high schools, and they actually played against the university as well. And just the experience to come in and see the culture. See, culture first and foremost as people, how they live differently, but then also different idea of how they think about the game, play the game, what it's like at the grassroots. And again, I just think if there's more involvement and collaboration potentially at the levels where you can involve the League One teams, it flows down and it trickles down to, well, guys will want to come over, girls will want to come over and experience what the culture is like, play, like organised high school visits, university visits, and there's more collaboration in that sense as well.
What about at the national level? What's your views and assessment of the way that Japan are developing at the moment under Eddie Jones?
I really enjoy the way that they play the game, and what I like about what Eddie's doing with them is he understands, okay, well, these are the group of players that I've got. What are their strengths? What are the strengths essentially of Japanese rugby and Japanese rugby players? It's they're fit, they're fast, they're skillful, they're going to run all day. Then it's about building a game plan around that, and you can see that's a very distinct way of how they play the game. And so I'm enjoying their growth. And if you look at them, like that Pacific Nations Cup, at some point I think you've got to involve one of those teams maybe in an expanded rugby championship, and maybe you do it as I don't know how you do it. I'm just thinking of you do it as a promotion relegation type thing where the top team participates in the rugby championship from the year before, participates in the rugby championship. I'm not sure how you do it, but then it just goes to grow the game further again. Because if you're seeing Japan play in a rugby championship that now compromises the 5 teams, think about all the eyeballs that you bring in.
Yeah.
Think about from just a rugby perspective, how much better the players will get because they're playing against better competition week in, week out. So that's how I think about how, I guess, where the international game can grow here in Japan. But as far as what Eddie's doing, I love seeing the way he's building the team, and almost a team from scratch.
So for you, you're moving into a career now as a coach. What are the differences that you're finding between being a player and being a coach?
Yeah, well, the thing about playing is you could put me on a field and I would just know what to do instinctively, and just because that's how I thought about the game, played the game. But as a coach, what I've realized is the biggest difference is when you're on the field as a player, you drive a message. As a coach, you create the message. And that's the biggest thing. You create the message and you have to learn to teach the message. And then understanding people. Everybody, you might say the same thing. 30 people out of the 50 think about it completely differently. And so it's understanding, learning how to get a message across to individuals by getting to know people so that everyone understands and everyone can get on the same page. And so the other thing about it is there's a lot of learning, and I love it. Like I was lucky enough, I had a conversation with Eddie. Was lucky enough to have a phone call with him and just asking questions about, session plans, drills, flow of training, feedback loops, all that type of stuff. And he was very forthcoming with his time. But yeah, mate, just a lot of learning, which I really enjoy, because I think about it as a player. Like when I first started, you start at the bottom. You learn, you get experience, you get up to a point where you're at a certain level, and it's the same thing as a coach. I'm starting here, but I'm going to embrace starting here and ask questions and learn and take in as much as I can.
And it's a great opportunity, isn't it, for coaches such as yourself here in Japan, because if you were trying to seek the same type of opportunity at the same standard in Australia, it just simply doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist, for sure. And so I'm super lucky and blessed in that I played at Kintetsu for 6 years, and then the opportunity came up to be a part of the coaching staff here. And it's just, again, because I've got good relationships with the people, it's a little bit easier for me to immerse myself into it. There's already a sense of respect and a connection there. So of all the knowledge I've got that I can share, I will, but it's also an opportunity for me to learn off guys around me and guys that I know, ask questions, and learn about teaching that message and learn about teaching the game in a way that guys can understand it, so that we can all get connected and align and play how we want to play ultimately.
Okay. So just from a life perspective, what do you enjoy about living here in Japan?
Mate, there's a lot. I love the people. I love...
The people are fabulous. Like that, we're just out there after the game. They're respectful.
Yeah.
They're patient. They're engaged throughout the game.
Yeah.
They were totally... like they were into it.
Yeah,
they were watching it.
They're just really good, respectful people. They're welcoming. They're kind. And like... just the lifestyle itself, it's just like... you do get a lot of time off here, which is also a nice thing. So... it's a little less intense and a little less of a fishbowl as, say, for example, being back in Australia or being in New Zealand or South Africa. And so there's an opportunity to disappear.
Yeah.
To disappear into the crowd. Mate, I like, outside of rugby, I love the food. I love the place. I love the country itself. There's a lot of a lot of things to do, a lot of things to keep yourself busy. So, but I've been here for 6 years now, and I've loved every second of it, and I'd like to stay longer.
Okay. So where to from here for Will Genia in, let's say, 3 to 5 years' time? Obviously, as a player, you were very ambitious. You played at the highest level for a long time. Is it the same with coaching? You've got your eyes on getting to the top?
I wouldn't say that. Like, I'm a very process-driven person, so for me, it's just I want to get better day to day, and I'm very, like I said, I embrace the fact that it's a new challenge, and I'm starting from scratch and from zero. Obviously, I've got a lot of knowledge and understanding of the game already, but starting from zero in the sense that there's so much that I have to learn, and it's just, for me, it's a day-to-day process of learning, and wherever that takes me, it takes me. And like that's what I was like as a player. Like, it was just all about the process. And then accumulating knowledge, accumulating good habits, discipline, all that type of stuff. And it took me where it took me as a player. Right. Same thing as a coach. I want to learn, put the ego aside, put the pride aside, ask questions, get as good as I can, and wherever that takes me, it takes me.
Okay. All right. So listen, it's a thing that we do in Rugby Unity, and I'm going to put you on the spot. We ask for three things. So in terms of this mission that we've got, which is really to look at on the field, off the field, how are we going to help secure the future prosperity of rugby union around the world? So what are 3 things or 3 contributions Japan can make to help secure the future prosperity of rugby union around the world?
Jeez, you have really put me on the spot here. 3 contributions that they can make to help secure the prosperity of the game around the world.
That's it.
Nice. I think first of all, like I was saying earlier, the more we can get Japan involved on a consistent basis in all forms of the game, in already existing competitions, I think the better, because the country just has so much to offer as far as passion around the game and investment around the game, and a genuine care for the game. I've been so taken back by, like, when you come here and when I've been here and you play. Again, it might not be the biggest crowds, but the crowds here genuinely care about the game. There's respect, there's a passion for the game. So I don't know how that works, to be honest, but if we can get them more involved in and more seen in competitions around the world, I think that's a start.
Yep. That's one.
Jesus, and now you really put me on the spot here. You're going to have to edit this so it's a little bit more of a flow. I don't know, to tell you the truth. It's a tough one. How can Japan be more involved in the game to increase its prosperity?
Perhaps it might need to overcome its shyness in some ways. Yeah. There's almost that respect that they're not pushing themselves forward in a way to perhaps demand more of their place. Because interestingly, they have now, after the success of 2019, the Rugby World Cup here, they've now said that 2035, we want to do it again.
Yeah.
Which is great, because that was a great experience for everyone who came to 2019. So maybe that's another thing that they can do, is to be a little less sort of, a little bit more forthright, a little bit more.
I think within their nature, they are quite reserved people, and I think that flows into how they do business and how they are on that front as far as what you're saying. So potentially, be a bit more forward, maybe a bit more assertive around what their standing is in the game and what they have to offer. I'd say the other thing also is potentially, like, there's a lot of rules here around foreigners and how many foreigners you can have in squads and how many foreigners you can have at universities and high schools and how that works. I think I'd like to see that open up a little bit more. And I get that you've got to have a balance there, because the Japanese national team has to come first as far as you want to invest in your local players, because they're the ones that transition into playing for your country. So if you open it too much, or there's too much of a foreign influence, it takes away from opportunities for Japanese kids and Japanese players. But I do think at some point it'll allow more people to come and see and experience the great culture, the great passion that they have for the game, and that in itself serves as an advertisement for the game, which allows more people to know about Japanese rugby, understand Japanese rugby, and embrace Japanese rugby, on a more global scale.
All right. Okay, mate. Well, now listen, I don't want him to miss the bus, so he is going to have to go and grab his bag, jump on his bus. But thanks very much for joining us on Rugby Unity in Japan. We'll be here all week talking to lots of different people about the game here, and certainly bringing more exposure, more interest, more focus on the game here, because certainly it has a lot to offer the game of rugby globally.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. And even doing things like this acts as a way to be able to provide more exposure for Japan, because you find that there's so many world-class players here, world-class coaches here that are part of this. You know, and you see Richie Mwanga's here, Money LeBox here. So
yeah,
these types of things go a long way too. So maybe I should have said this. No, I appreciate you having me, mate. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks very much for joining us on Rugby Unity, and we'll be back tomorrow with the next episode of Rugby Unity in Japan. Remember, please be kind to each other. My name is David Pembroke, and it's bye for now.